Very good evening to our viewers. Thank you for joining us tonight on the evening review. My name is Toivo Jebela. Tonight on the platform, we are graced by the presence of Mutaleni Toivo. She is the daughter of Herman Andimba Toivo, the legend and iconic stalwart of our liberation struggle. And of course, he would have turned 100 years last week on the 22nd of August. But of course, as we know, he passed away in 2017. And we're just here to celebrate his life in light of what would have been a very big milestone in terms of his age. Mutaleni, thank you very much for making time. It's, of course, a bittersweet moment because, of course, when your father's birthday comes up, it inevitably reminds you also of him, and he's no longer here. But I think, at the age of 92, that must have been that was a blessing in many lives. How has your family been handling the fact that he's no longer here?
Firstly, thank you for having me.
Sure.
And I'm glad to be here. If you've lost a loved one really close to you, it is difficult, regardless of who they were.
Yes.
So I think just as a family, we've grown a lot closer, perhaps more immediate family, because my dad was essentially, that tree that held the family together?
Yeah.
And now that has fallen, in a way, the family has also fallen, unfortunately. But those of us that are still close to each other, we support each other in everything that we do.
Yeah.
It hasn't been easy, for sure. It's like 7 years since he passed away. I think maybe only after year 5 was I wasn't maybe crying as much or as emotional. Not that ever goes away. You just learn to live without the person. So it has been really tough. It's nothing easy. But we soldier on.
Absolutely. At what age, I assume you are, it's not, I'm assuming you are young. And I think your parents made you guys, you of course, for the viewers, it's a family of course, immediate family of 4, you and your sister. And your father, when he came out of Robben Island in 1984, and I went on to meet your mother, him in particular was pretty getting old already. I wonder at what stage did you realize just what a legend this man was? Because initially you see him as a father, and as you reach the age of reason, and you read and you hear and you observe, then you realize, but this is not just my father, it's actually quite a legend. At what sort of stage of your life did you realize that?
Well, I think quite early on, maybe perhaps 4 or 5.
Yeah, that early.
Because, by then, we are born frees.
Yeah.
And by then he held, I think he was Minister of Mines and Energy by then. He would take us everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
Whether he's traveling to the north for some event, we're going with him. Regardless of you have to RSVP or it's invitation only, he didn't care about the rules. He took us everywhere.
Yeah.
So because we've been exposed to a lot of things from a very young age, we grew up. Yes, he was our father, but we also grew up with us knowing about his contribution to the liberation struggle and to the fight for independence of Namibia from that young age. So it was we never were not exposed.
Yeah.
I think till this day that still remains, although he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
We still attend things and people still know who we are.
So
it's not like we attend things and it depends what we're attending. We don't expect people to know who we are. At the end of the day, we're still just normal human beings.
Yeah.
But other people don't see it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you think that how was it like? Was he But I think one of the things that he did very gracefully, perhaps one of the pioneers in that space, he was a pioneer in many things, but one of his last pioneering acts was when he retired, which doesn't really happen in Namibian politics. People want to cling on until they could no longer walk, but him at a very good age, said, I've done my part, and it's time to spend time with my family, the remainder of my days with my family, which I thought was very, very nice. But prior to that, was he very busy? He's a man, because I'm trying to imagine a life of a minister or somebody at that level, whether they even had family life.
He did have family life, although he was very, very busy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very committed to the work that he was doing. But although he had that, at the same time, he had my sister and I to raise and my mother to look after, essentially. So when he could, he made time. I know people will say they're very busy and they don't have time. But if somebody as busy as my dad was and still made time to be a family man, then you have no excuse. He would always attend like our soccer games or our ballet concerts, whatever activity it is that we had. Parent-teacher meetings, even if it was in the evening. Surely if Parliament continued, he couldn't attend, but maybe my mom would go alone. But he attended those things. So he just made the time. But I think family for him was also very important.
Yeah. Speaking of family, what kind of conversations typically would you guys have as a family with a man like that?
That's a tough question. If I can remember, I think our conversations would really be about anything. Definitely there'd be politics involved.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. But it would perhaps be, he would always encourage us. Maybe I can speak or allude to things about him encouraging us while we go through our school career. He would always encourage us to work hard so that we can be proud of ourselves and our parents can be proud of us. And he didn't like lazy people. He didn't like liars. He always wanted everybody to tell the truth, which you don't find people always telling the truth. But he always encouraged us to work hard, do our homework, even like clean up the house on a Sunday, or because at that time Sunday was the weekend. There were our housekeeper was not working that day, so everybody in the house had to work, do something, whether you're sweeping the house, mopping the floors, sweeping the grass outside, or rather gathering it. So he believed in hard work because nothing comes for free.
Absolutely. And your mother is obviously American born. He is a Vambu Ndonga man. Did he teach you any Shwambo? Can you greet?
Kashona?
Small, eh?
Yes. So I think to accommodate both us, ourselves, and our mother, he didn't really have, or he started teaching us quite late in our lives.
Yeah.
Which, yes, we have family members that speak Oshiwambo, but when we were with them, like maybe our cousins, we would be speaking English because that's the language we both understand. So we do know, well, I know Oshiwambo to a certain extent. I understand it very well. Well, depending on the dialect also. I understand it more than I can speak, but I can communicate. I can say the basics. Okay. But my sister, on the other hand, she knows it better than myself, and she can speak it better than myself.
Wow, okay.
But if people are talking about us, we'll understand. I mean, they'll probably add in a Toivo there, then you'll just be like, you'll either look or you won't look, and you just try and hear what they say. But we do come across that quite often. But, it just is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to think also of, apart from that linguistic element, what kind of values did he sort of instill in you as his children? Pretty
much all of the values that he stood for. that being integrity, courage to do things, humility. I mean, to give an example for that, I've met a few people in South Africa that knew my dad or have known about him, and they'll tell me, "You're too humble." I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? I'm just being myself. Where I think maybe the children of politicians, kids in South Africa, perhaps, or here, I don't really know, but I can speak about that for myself, perhaps boast about who their parents are. That's definitely not something my sister and I do. I mean, yes, we have the surname. If conversation comes about as to who we are, then we speak about it proudly. But it's not like we go around saying, my father is this and this and this, he did this and this and this.
Yeah.
Yes, we're proud of it, but it's not something you have to boast about, right?
Yeah.
Some of the other values that he stood for that I believe we embody or that we have the same are tolerance for things, unity, human solidarity, service to the people. I mean, perhaps for him, that was just starting when he started in government, or even before that, before independence. He just wanted to do what was best and what was right for his people. And we believe the same. We try our best to follow in his footsteps. We cannot fill them, but we carry on his legacy. And we are quite determined individuals. We do not give up very easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We go for a quick break and return with Mutaleni Toivo.
Entries are now open for the second round of Republicane's Bridal Couple of the Year competition. Couples married between 1 June and 31 August have until 30 September of this year to enter the second round of the competition. Another one of the top 10 couples will be chosen from this pool to participate in the final, taking place in May 2025. To better your chance of reaching the final, enter now. To enter, simply WhatsApp #bridal2025 to 085 785 6231 and follow the on-screen instructions or scan this QR code.
The conversation continues here on the evening review. Now, Mutaleni, tell us about, there's always this thing about children of these icons who are no longer with us. Some of them saying, ever since our father or mother passed away, we have sort of been, thrown in the back seat. We don't receive support because, I suppose there's no structured support that people can get, but sort of just forgotten. There's, for example, I've interviewed the children of Anton Lubowski a number of times, and from time to time they would make that exact sentiment that they feel that people have totally forgotten about their father and his contribution and his family that is still here. In your family's case, what would you say is the case?
I would say that is not the case. If I can just tell you a few things that we have experienced, in terms of support, it's been quite good, I would say. There's been a clear expression of sympathy from all corners of government, that being from when he passed away and throughout the years. because as a family, we make it a point to continue his legacy and to speak about him, and perhaps not as loudly as we should, but we make it a point to still continue his legacy. And because if we don't, who will? And then when he passed away, we got very strong moral support from everyone, not just the government. And then, like our late president Hage Geingob, when he would speak at Heroes Day, in his speech he would mention my dad, and we are appreciative of that. And then now recently, when we celebrated my dad's centenary on his birthday on the 22nd of August, on Thursday, the current president was there to support and show his perhaps appreciation to my father and us, I believe. So there's never not a moment where we don't have support in one way or another, including NBC gave a wonderful coverage of my father on his birthday or throughout the week leading up to his birthday. And we're also appreciative of that. So there's never not a time where we don't appreciate what everyone is doing to show their support throughout.
The one question that your father has often avoided answering is is around this constant debate about, who's the father of the nation. Of course, there are technical meanings to these things, but I suppose, has he ever engaged you in a conversation like that, ever? Or whether he's the father of the nation or anything to that effect?
No, he hasn't. I don't think he would. One of the statements or quotes he would say is, "You cannot smell yourself." That meaning you don't give recognition to yourself. Other people should give recognition to you. So we never had those kind of discussions. For him, he knows that he played his part. He accomplished his goal of independence. And that's it. If anybody gave him anything after that, I'm sure he appreciated it, but it's not something he expected.
Okay, no, very good. I almost predicted that you would answer like that, because like I said, I've watched him being asked a lot of questions around that, and he never really entertained it, which speaks to his humility in a lot of ways. Like all the Toivos, we are all very humble people. Okay, now I wonder, in terms of the path that your father took as a contract laborer, as a pioneer in the political and activism space, becoming, eventually having really a very successful career in politics. Are you guys, as daughters, anywhere close to that kind of career path, or you are pursuing completely different things?
Well, where do I start? I can say that both my sister and I are both members of the SWAPO Party Youth League. Previously, before my sister left the country, she had attended one of the Youth League congresses in Kavango. I don't remember exactly where it was, but one of them there. So she was quite active before she left. At the moment, we have both been out of the country for quite some time, so that has hindered us from really being active if we have those interests. But all I can say is we'll see what the future holds.
So we might one day just see Toivo again on the
radar. You might, yes.
Okay. Now, if you can bring along the values and fortitude of your father into Namibian politics, into SWAPO politics, and an element of fairness, because your father was a very fair man. if you can bring along that into the mainstream politics of SWAPO, I'm sure it will contribute greatly to the growth of the organization. What is the best way to honor the legacy of your father? We know the values that he stood for. We know what he fought for in our country. Some of that has been achieved, some not. What would be the best way to really honor the legacy of Andimba Toivo?
I think that overall, the best way to honor his legacy is that everybody, regardless of your level, continue the values or promote the values that he stood for.
Yeah.
In whatever work you're doing. You don't have to be a politician. You don't have to be a minister. You don't have to be a member of parliament. From as low or as, I don't want to say low because I don't really see it as a hierarchy, but to a certain extent it is. But to the person that's a gardener or a security guard, to just promote his values and what he stood for. But also through the leadership of government at different levels, and also at public and private sector, they also continue that same thing. Make sure that Namibia is a country that is united, no tribalism, no one should be left behind, that everybody be allowed to have the freedom of speech, not be scared to say what they want because they'll be punished for that in some kind of way. Respect that not everyone will agree with each other, but still continue to respect each other and be civilized with each other. And we live as one.
Yeah.
And then human solidarity, continue with that. And that we set examples of how people should be treated. Like, I don't think, a lot of people maybe don't understand that you don't have to treat somebody a certain way because they're a CEO of a company. Yes, they have that position. It's good for them and perhaps good for whichever company they're working for.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they should be treated differently to the next person.
Yeah.
And then share the resources in the country for the benefit of the people and the country. He also said that everyone is a politician.
Explain that.
If you have a complaint, if you have something you're vouching for, in your own way, you're a politician. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that best describes how Namibians should continue or should celebrate him.
Yeah. And at the personal level, I mean, what can we draw from his personality in terms of things that we can replicate in our families, the values that we can replicate in our families, maybe the way he raises his kids, the values that he inculcated in you guys. What can we learn from that?
What can you learn from his values at a personal level?
Yes,
Is that the
because the last question was really dealing with the nation to say, what can we do as a country to do that? But if I'm just an ordinary Toivo Njabela who wants to emulate some personal examples of my namesake, what must I? What are some of the adorable things about him that you can
work hard?
work hard. Yeah.
Work hard. Always be honest. As I said, he didn't like liars. My mother also doesn't like liars, and I don't like liars. So that's definitely something that has continued. Also, I personally don't see the point in lying because eventually your lies will catch up to you. So just be honest from the get-go. Again, treat everybody the same. Although he was a very stubborn man, very, very stubborn, he was still very loving.
Yeah.
Share that love that you have with those close to you, with those far from you, from a distance. What else?
training? Must you go to the gym?
Oh yes, of course. You should go to the gym. He definitely loved exercising.
I know.
Since I think that became a habit of his from prison, because they didn't really have anything to do, but something to keep themselves busy was definitely exercise.
Yeah.
He was very involved in the gym or exercise in any form up until his last days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's probably also why he lived such a long life, because he kept fit.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can't say that I am exactly doing that, but I know it's in my mind that I need to exercise so that I can have a healthy life and live a long life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it, apart from exercising, what are the other sort of lifestyle did he adopt, maybe in terms of his eating habits, in terms of just taking care of the body and soul?
I mean, he ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What he ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner obviously differs. For breakfast, his favorite was strawberry yogurt. He had to have strawberry yogurt and then maybe like tea, but it would change. It would sometimes be oats. He would actually, I would say he ate quite healthy, but my mother is also quite a healthy individual. So it's like, what I give you, you should eat. Not you must eat, but we adopted those eating habits, and he was also happy with that. For lunch, our housekeeper would make something and he would eat it. He actually came home when he was minister every day for lunch to eat, and then go back promptly to be at the office at 2:00 and continue his duties. For dinner, sometimes there would be made, like extra food would be made so that we wouldn't have to make it. But sometimes my mother would make his food, make his dinner. My mom is quite versatile.
Okay.
She could also make oshithima.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that is exactly possible, but she can. He ate fruits. He was quite healthy, I would say. Perhaps here and there he would deter from his normal habit and daily eating habits. But
Alcohol?
he did consume alcohol.
Wine?
Yes, wine, brandy.
Okay.
But not so much in his later years.
Okay.
He had there were phases of various favorite drinks.
Okay.
Sure, you have to, just taste something here and there to enjoy your fruits and your labor.
Yeah, easygoing,
Yeah. And mostly that.
Yeah.
He read a lot.
Okay.
Really read a lot. Also to keep himself informed. Every morning or every day he would receive the Namibian newspaper.
Yeah.
If there was opportunity for any of the other newspapers, he would go through them also. But we know for a fact that every single day he would read every page of the Namibian.
Yeah, I know he was very close to Gwen Lista also.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no. I think, thank you, Mutaleni, for coming on. We really enjoyed our conversation with you. Happy belated birthday to your father.
Thank you.
We have a very our sixth sense is telling us that he's watching all over us, not only his children, but all of us that he fought for. So we are very proud of his legacy, and we'll continue to honor him.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, wonderful. That is Mutaleni Toivo. She's a daughter of Andimba Toivo. Of course, she's many things, but in the context of this conversation, she is really the daughter of her father. Just talking about her father in light of the fact that he would have turned 100 years last week, Thursday. Thank you for watching.